Welcome to the Sleep Dives channel. Today, we're diving into a really powerful concept from Profound Stories by John Willis and Derek Lewis. It's one of those ideas that sounds almost too simple, but believe me, it holds the key to sorting out a surprising amount of confusion and chaos in our work and, honestly, our daily lives. So let's get right into it. So let's kick things off with a question the book throws at us. Imagine you're in a room and someone asks you, how many people are here? Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? You just count the heads. But as you're about to see, the correct answer, completely, 100%, depends on why you're asking in the first place.
All right, so let's say the whole point is to take attendance for a seminar. In that case, you'd count the people who actually registered, right? The folks serving lunch, any assistants, the journalists over in the corner, they wouldn't be part of your count. Nope, the answer is totally specific to that one task.
Okay, but hang on, let's flip the script. What if you need to know how many people are in the room to prepare lunch? Suddenly those journalists and assistants, oh, they definitely count now. They've got to eat, right? The servers, though, probably have their own meal arrangements, so they still wouldn't be included. Same room, same people, but a completely different answer.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the core problem, doesn't it? That seemingly simple question, how many people, is actually a total landmine of ambiguity. Without knowing the purpose of the measurement, we really can't get a reliable answer. And this kind of ambiguity is a constant source of error and misunderstanding in pretty much everything we do. So we've seen how just a simple question can be a trap. And this brings us right to a central theme from the book, the absolute danger of ambiguity. We all do it, right? We operate on assumptions, using words and measures we think everyone understands in the same way. But as we'll see, that's a really dangerous game to play.
You know the old saying, the devil's in the details? It's a cliche for a reason. Being precise in our language isn't just for scientists or academics. It's absolutely essential for anyone who wants to communicate effectively and avoid making really costly mistakes. Let's look at another powerful example of this.
Just take the concept of north. It feels pretty solid, absolute, right? Well, it's not. You see, there's geographic north, which is the fixed point at the very top of the planet's axis. But then there's magnetic north, which is what a compass needle actually points to. And here's the real kicker. Magnetic north isn't a fixed point at all. It actually moves around.
So how much does this really matter? Well, the difference between these two norths can be over 300 miles. 300 miles! Just imagine trying to navigate without knowing which north your map or your instruments are using. If something as basic as north can be this fuzzy, just think about the confusion hiding in our project plans and our business goals.
Okay, so how on earth do we fix this problem of ambiguity? Well, the book points us to the work of the legendary W. Edwards Deming, who himself was hugely influenced by another brilliant mind who basically spent his entire career fighting this exact issue. Let me introduce you to Percy Williams Bridgman. He was a physicist whose ideas on what's called operationalism became a real cornerstone of Deming's philosophy. Bridgman's big idea was that for science, and for a lot of our daily activities, our common, everyday language is just, well, it's not good enough. To give you a real sense of the world Bridgman lived in, his work involved studying materials under incredibly high pressure. We're talking 1.5 million pounds per square inch. I mean, just to put that in perspective, we're all sitting here under about 14.7 psi. So when you're playing with forces on that scale, vague language isn't just annoying, it's downright dangerous. This was a man who lived and breathed precision.
And the guy's legacy is just incredible. He snagged a Nobel Prize, his work literally paved the way for creating synthetic diamonds, and yeah, he even taught J. Robert Oppenheimer. But for us today, his most critical contribution was this whole philosophy of operationalism, the demand for clear, actionable definitions.
So what Deming did was brilliant. He took Bridgman's pretty academic philosophy and distilled it down into a practical framework that honestly anyone can use to just stamp out ambiguity. And this framework is what he called an operational definition.
Now, this is absolutely crucial. An operational definition is not just a dictionary definition. Forget that. It's an agreed-upon procedure for actually measuring something. It tells you exactly how to measure it and what criteria to use so that anybody following that procedure gets the exact same result.
Deming broke this down into three really simple, essential parts. First, you've got the specification. What is it you're actually trying to measure? Second, the criterion. How will you test it, and what's the standard for judging it? And third, the decision. Based on the test, does it meet the criterion or not? Simple as that.
To make this real, Deming loved to use the example of manufacturing a blanket that's supposed to be 50% wool. Okay, what does that actually mean?
Is it wool on one half of the blanket and cotton on the other? Of course not. But if you don't define it clearly, you're leaving a massive room for error.
So let's apply the framework. The specification? Easy. A blanket that's 50% wool. But the criterion? This is where the magic happens. We get specific. The test is that 50% of the woven fabric must be wool per square inch. See? Now everyone knows exactly what to do and how to measure it. And then the decision is just judging if any tiny deviation from that number is okay or not.
Okay, this might all sound a bit academic, a bit manufacturing-focused, but it has massive implications for our work every single day. I mean, think about it. Every time we use a vague term like done, or high quality, or user-friendly, without one of these definitions, we're basically just inviting chaos to the party. So, how do you actually put this to work? Well, next time you're on a project, define exactly what done means for every task. Not just code complete, but maybe coded, tested, documented, and deployed. For a product, create a clear, testable standard for what quality means to your team. You do this and you eliminate so much confusion, you get everyone pulling in the same direction, and you slash the number of errors that come from just guessing. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Just take a second to think about your own work, your own team, your own projects. Where are you relying on vague terms? Where are you all just assuming you mean the same thing when you say something is finished? Because finding those spots, that is the very first step to fixing them.